All right, guys. So this is the video that's going to go into that's going to help us practice scientific notation. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do standard form. Standard form just means regular number. So standard form is just a regular number. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this into scientific notation. So you can see with the red where the decimal point is, right? Now, the rules are here, right? So there's two rules. You have to adjust the decimal, so you only have one digit to the left of the decimal. So if you take a look at this one right here where the decimal point is here, you can see that there's several digits to the left of the decimal, right? So that means that we have to move the decimal point so we only have one digit to the left of it. That digit that's to the left cannot be a 0, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump it, all right? So I'm going to take the decimal point, I'm going to move it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So I'm going to move my decimal point there. It took me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jumps to get the decimal point to a place where I have one digit to the left of it, and that digit is not a 0. So now I'm going to rewrite this in scientific notation. I'm going to go ahead and put the 4.020, right? All the other zeros you don't have to add, right? Then I'm going to say, okay, so 4.20, because that's where my decimal place is now. And then I'm going to say, how many times did I have to jump to get there? I had to jump it 6 times. 6 times. Now, because I'm moving the decimal in this direction, my exponent is going to be positive movement, right? Positive. So you can see here that it's a positive exponent. Okay? And so that would be my number in scientific notation. Now, let's take a look at another example. Here I have the decimal point right here. Okay. Now, at this point, I only have one digit to the left of the decimal. However, that digit cannot be a 0, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this decimal to the right. If I move it to the left, I'm going to just end up with more zeros. So that's not going to help me, right? So what I need to do is I need to move the decimal in this direction, right? And then I'm going to move it as many times as I need to get one digit to the left that is not a 0. So that is 1 jump, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put my decimal point right there. So what does this number look like? Well, let's write the decimal first. 2.110. Okay. Then I'm going to say, okay, how many times did I adjust? Remember, the times 10 is just saying a factor of 10. Because every time you move the decimal, you're changing it by a factor of 10. I moved it how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4. I had to jump it 4 times to get into that position, okay? And since I'm moving to the right, that is going to reflect as a negative exponent. So this is my number in scientific notation. So here's the way to remember it. Big numbers get a positive. Small numbers get a negative. If you're moving to the right, going into scientific notation, you're going to have a negative exponent. If you're moving to the left and going into scientific notation, you're going to have a positive exponent. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and move on a little bit. The rules are going to be the same here, except now we're going to go from scientific notation and we're going to go into standard form. So what that means is you're going to undo scientific notation, right? So this is where it gets a little tricky because basically what you're doing now is you're doing the reverse, right? So 411, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my decimal, and this number is going to tell me by how many times I need to move it. Now, if it is a positive decimal or a positive exponent, then to undo it, I'm going to move my exponent to the right in this direction. Or not my exponent, my decimal. Okay? So this guy right here tells me that I have to jump my decimal 3 times. And because it's positive, I'm going to jump it 3 times to the right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So how do I rewrite this? I'm going to rewrite this as 2,000 411. 2,411. Okay, that is my number. All right. Now, this one is same thing, right? I'm going to go ahead and write my decimal, 0.75. Okay, here's my decimal point. Now, this one right here, this number, this exponent says I'm going to have to jump 4 times. But because it's negative, right, I'm going to move the decimal in the opposite direction. So I'm going to move it to the left, right? So this tells me I'm moving left. And this number tells me I'm moving left 4 times, right? So let's go ahead and move our decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, everywhere I see an empty space there, I'm going to fill that in with a 0. So there's 3 zeros. So this number in standard form would look like this: 0.000675. Okay? 675. So these are the rules for going into scientific notation. These are the rules going back into standard form. And these are a couple of examples. So go ahead and write these down. And then I'm going to give you a few practice problems to work on yourself here. So number 1, let's try and take this number into scientific notation. Let's see. Let's try 7,000 or 750,000. Right? And then we'll do 0.2140, right? So I want you to take these into scientific notation, and then I want you to take these into standard form. This is going to be 4.26 times 10 to the 4. And this is going to be 1.789 times 10 to the negative 3. So take those into scientific notation, standard form. Go ahead and pause the video, and then I'll come back and show you the answers. Okay, so you should have come back here. Here's the answer for the first one. So the first one in scientific notation is going to be 7.50 times 10 to the 5th. Here, we're going to end up with 2.140 times 10 to the negative 1. Here, we're going to end up with 42,600. And here, we're going to end up with 0.001789. If you got those correct, then you figured out how to do this. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.